So should you call yourself a freelancer or should you have kind of a fancy agency name? Which one would look more trustworthy and would better fit your business? Now, the answer is it actually depends. There is no right or wrong answer because clients are different. Some clients would want to hire an agency because they feel like this is high trust and this is something solid and stable and more trustworthy than just a freelancer. However, other clients would rather work with a freelancer because to them it sounds more agile, it sounds more affordable, and they would rather hire a freelancer. So the truth is, it really depends on who your clients are and what your selected niche is and who do they want to hire. Okay, you need to appeal to what they need to hire. And here's the actual truth. It doesn't really matter. So there's this great quote: it doesn't matter if the cat is black or white so long as it catches the mice. And this is a quote from Deng Xiaoping. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He was the actual kind of like ruler of China that kind of opened them up from communism, because he figured out that they actually do better when they let people own their own business and farm. And people were like, no, but we are communist. How can you do this capitalist thing? And he said, like, look, it doesn't really matter. Capitalist, socialist, whatever. It doesn't really matter. As long as it produces good results for the people, we're going to do what's good. And so I think that we should have the same approach. It doesn't really matter if you call yourself a freelancer or an agency. Agency doesn't really mean that you need to hire other people or have a fancy office. It doesn't matter. It's just what's going to make it more comfortable for your clients to hire you, what would make them feel better. So we're going to do what appeals to them. So the way to know which would appeal to them is, again, look at what they're actually doing right now. As I've mentioned previously, the best way to predict future behavior is to look at past behavior. So let's see how your niche behaves right now. Who are they hiring right now? Who are your competitors? So I suggest by making a list of everybody that's currently providing service to your niche. And the way that I usually do this is this. I go to Google and I write like the company name that I want to work with. And then I write, let's say the company name is Nike, okay, for this example. I would write something like Nike website design, and I would Google that. Then I would go to Google Images, and I would start actually looking at what companies put this image of the website or on their brand as their portfolio. Because most websites that you see that are, let's say, well designed or were designed by a freelancer or a studio, they were a project of some designer, and so they would probably put this in their portfolio. And this is kind of how I hack my way into figuring out who was the designer of this website or of this brand. By doing this, you can start seeing if these people that work with your niche are calling themselves freelancers or, agencies. Now, sometimes the answer would be very, very clear. You would see that all of them are freelancers or all of them are agencies. Sometimes it's more like split or it's hard to determine. And then in this case, you're going to go with your gut feeling because maybe the truth is it doesn't matter. They hire both. And so whatever you prefer will work best. So that's kind of the first step. Now there's two options because you probably have something online. So the question is, do you need to completely rebrand yourself from an agency to a freelancer or from a freelancer to an agency, or you just update? Let's say you have a portfolio website for yourself as a freelancer and you made the research, you decide to keep it as a freelancer. So in that case, you're only going to update the current website that you have. You don't need to build it from scratch. So in case you need to completely rebrand, okay, you need to start up a whole new website. I want to make sure that you make it a weekend project. Otherwise, again, you'll never finish this by next week. I know you have other things on your head. So let's make sure this is a weekend project. Make this website kind of a single landing page, just stating your unique selling proposition and having some portfolio work on it, but don't try to do too much. Okay, we just want to have something finished rather than have something amazing at this point. Okay, so just try to be as clear as possible around what you do and try to look credible, whether it is by, adding testimonials, having previous work, logos, whatever you can, but just try to make this as simple as possible. In case you update your website, then just update the hero section with your unique selling proposition and just think about whether you should remove or rearrange your portfolio pieces, because maybe some of them are already in the niche, but maybe some of them are not. Maybe you just need a good order. I'm not saying that the website should have only work within that niche, although that would be helpful. But if you're just starting out in that niche, it's helpful if, let's say, 1 or 2 works are in that niche and the other, it's okay if they're not within that niche. But it's better to go with something that is, again, minimal rather than trying to do too much at this point.